Welcome to Scintillae. Cheaper than therapy, the experiences of true transvians navigating, let's stage, capitalism. I'm sure that some of that could have been said better.
I think these are just lessons that we'll be learning. If we want, we can do like an intro at the end that can kind of go into what we've talked about.
It's the beauty of editing.
We can see which of the things that we talk about scintillate us.
Yes.
And then we can bring that up.
We should introduce ourselves.
Yes.
Because people might get here from our previous work, but people might not. They might just find us here. In which case, hi, welcome. How are you doing today? My name is Alisha Ahmed. My pronouns are she, they. And I've been a content creator for the last 15-ish years. We run YouTube together channels. We run a lot of things together. We're artists. We're penniless artists. And we try to survive under patriarchy, late-stage capitalism, ableism, all those fun things together.
Yeah, it's really important to get out of the way that this is going to be like a really fun, light-hearted podcast. That
Fun.
We're going to be like those comedians. Just jokes, nothing but jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Raven. My pronouns are... I don't know anymore. I change them daily.
There's variability.
Yeah, I mean, she, they's on most things. We'll go with that. I'm a photographer and help Alisha with content stuff for the last 9 years because we started in 2016.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I think it's interesting that a lot of this has always been my idea, but then I really lack the commitment to properly do any of this stuff myself.
I'm good with that. I'm good with, let's try. I might not be great at sticking with it, but I'm always for let's try.
Yeah. I was realizing, like, just now, this isn't even our first podcast.
Technically, no.
Because we did the music, the album review thing where we swapped albums from our childhood.
I think we did it twice, though,
yeah.
And then... So we're talking about a podcast that is 10 years old now. So it's, We've tried in different ways. I don't know why podcasts have taken up so much in the last year or so, but I've seen literally everyone that wants to do something. I don't know why now it's perceived to be the new things that everybody needs to have. I wonder if it's because you can just listen it in the background and it's not as invasive as YouTube is.
Yeah, like, because we don't listen to podcasts that much because we don't drive.
Yeah.
And yeah, our attention spans are such that we need to at least have something visual.
Yeah,
going
very
on
much so.
While we're on our phones, not paying attention.
I cannot hear without my subtitles.
Yeah, that definitely helps.
So we had the idea for the first episode. I think actually we had the idea of, well, we need to talk about this. And then the thought was like, well, if we're going to talk about that, we might as well just talk about things and then at times invite people that we like to hear what they think about life and what they have learned about life. And the first thing was the most recent incarnation of our content can be found on the YouTube channel Activist Twitch, which is something that we've run for the last 2 years now. And despite the fact that I am very, very strongly pushing for the activist part more than the witch part, because I know how it sounds to someone external.
Again, I just don't think this is true anymore. I think we really have reached a tipping point on that where, it's the videos I've made about like the new romantic era that we're entering into is people are, I mean, on one side, unfortunately, paying less attention to more Enlightenment factual ideas. Everyone is a bit more open to the bit of the open-minded spiritual woo-woo side of things. That has its pros and its cons, but I think, at the very least, the world is in a position now where people at least people have more curiosity, let's say, and I think that they are less dismissive of things that in the late noughties would have ended up on some kind of new atheist debate bro YouTube channel where they react and talk about what idiots we are.
I mean, true, but not to jump onto what will be the second episode of this, but I do believe that there's only so much that one can afford to be quirky when they are not coming from other kind of privileges.
Yeah, I think that there is a line, you're right. I've noticed that line, and it seems to be if you state outright, I believe in this, or this is a real thing that has happened, any kind of statement about something being real, then everyone goes, well, come on now. But if you are like doing something because the process gives you something. So like the point I always make about witchcraft is it's like a human need for ritual. I think that's something that is regularly quite important, especially for neurodivergent people. Ritual is very useful. And I think people have stopped being as critical of religious people. They still are critical of like religion as an institution, but they recognize the benefits that it has to be part of something.
Yeah.
So even if someone doesn't believe in God, they might think it's great that you have a church that you can go to every Sunday and meet with a community and the various outreach programs there. Again, still lots to complain about there. But I think people are more accepting of that now.
I guess, yeah, but yeah, to me, I'm always very wary and mindful. Like I did an entire video called Shame exactly because I'm like, to which point your credibility can be taken away? How many times can it chip at the supposed already lack of power that I have because of the system?
Yeah, but you are also just raised Catholic, so that's quite ingrained in you to be ashamed of various things.
This is not shame. Because if I was ashamed, it would be like something that I hide because I've done something wrong. I never think that what I do is wrong in this, but I have to be conscious of what else might I need my credibility for, because my life, my development depend on the people that are around me or that will know about me.
Yeah.
And if I've lost credibility for that, am I putting my life at risk fundamentally because I am they are closing doors in my face because they think, it's a bunch of woohoo, how can I take you seriously? Yeah. So to me, it's never a matter of shame, but it has to be a matter of survival, and it's navigating that.
So it's a good job then that this first episode we're really getting out of the gates, like this is what we believe in.
I guess, yeah. Yeah.
So just lay it out there, and then if people think we're idiots,
they have.
They can make the decision right
away. Exactly. Yeah, the first thing was realizing that we do come from, not only we come from different mental kindergarten, but we also have an outlook of future spirituality, what happens, that is divergent. So it's like we are currently in our life, we are at the center of the X. We've come from different places, we might go in different places, but we're now here in this point together.
Yeah. But which, it hasn't even necessarily been the point of like our X happened when we met each other. Like we met each other from very separate worldviews and have come closer together, which I actually feel bad for you because I think you still think that I judge you a bit for this, despite also being into it. There's still a side of it that you're like, but you don't believe in this stuff. You had this mindset, and like, that hasn't been true for a long time.
You know what? I do not exclude the possibility that there's also some internalized issues that I have, and anything you say or the way that you say it automatically sounds more credible, even to me. And I know us. Not that you wouldn't deserve, but I think that even to me, parts of the way that I see you at the very least, I don't actually think that you occupy within the system the same level of privilege that you occupy with my perception of the world. Like, you are the center of the wheel to me.
Yeah, I mean, so there's still aspects of how I made the most out of my privilege growing up. that I retain. Like, a lot of why I, as a trans person, haven't done much with my voice is because I know the power that my voice has.
Really?
Yeah, always has. Like, especially coming from a very working class town where the accent is very specific and very, yeah, it's a very working class accent. It has kind of similar vocal traits as like Cockney
Okay.
or certain accents from the north in the way that it works, and I've always avoided having that because it benefits me
Fair.
to do so. Like, this isn't, I'm not a posh kid that grew up in a working class town. Like, I'm middle class, but in the very like petit bourgeois way.
I mean, you have been middle class.
Yeah,
You can't.
like,
You can't hold on to that anymore.
Well, that's the thing about this country is you don't really lose your status. Like, if you are working class, then you'll never be. So because that's the thing, the middle class is not a real thing. It's a invention, as much as all classes are inventions, but it's an invention by the state to put someone in a precarious position via which they're. It's the most fluid one that can be threatened at any time. But really, if you're not upper class, if you're not born into the aristocracy, then you're
the low class.
You're a commoner.
Yeah.
That's the only real class in the UK is commoner and ruling class aristocracy. But yeah, we've got these added layers that we like to run people under. But yeah, because my dad owned his own business and employed people and therefore was a capitalist, and that put us into growing up in owned houses. I think that does, because he wasn't working for someone else, it elevates us slightly above
All right.
working class. But yeah, it's not like I grew up in a nice housing estate. We just owned our house on the street that we lived in, and so yeah, I'm one of the poshest people in my family because it helped me with school. It helps me with job interviews a lot, or it did, and it helps me with police, funnily enough.
Honestly, I will go on the record saying I am absolutely shallow and it helped you with me. I saw your picture, and before knowing the kind of clever person that you also were, I was just like, I want me some of that.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very materialist.
And it's the same for you. Like, I became so disillusioned with British people by the time we met. Like, yeah, the phase of dating that I was in, I was basically like only dating migrants to this country. Like, often students from other countries, but yeah, European people were like the top of my dating list. I mean, then some of them were much worse than British people even. Like the Lithuanian girl who was just like incredibly fatphobic and was talking about how Jews control the media.
Oh my goodness.
That was only one date.
But I don't know. No surprises there. But no, I do appreciate, and I do call myself out on the fact that I know a lot of the things that I was attracted to you first, which are still reasons I'm attracted to you, but now there's so much more on top of it.
Yeah.
Was all the things that the systems had told me I should be or I should want. And you represented all of those so much, so well, that to me it was shocking that you looked back at me. And so the moment that happened, I was like, oh, why? Like, for what I've been told, you could have so much more and better than what I present for this system. Bizarrely, you had a set of values that was not what the system gave you. Yeah,
because my neurodivergence very much is being able to recognize and understand systems of power. And so once you clock what's going on, like, again, everything I do that took advantage of the traits that I could take advantage of is because I had an innate understanding of how that would benefit me, and did so purposefully because it's the easiest way to go through it. The downside of that is that then I end up with severe imposter syndrome, because I'm recognizing that I'm getting benefits that are like beyond my actual abilities. People just see something in me, like that. We talk all the time about is that your intuition or is it your unconscious bias? And everyone just has this like amazing intuition about me, and I'm just like, that's your unconscious bias, and I'm taking advantage of it.
It's a positive bias.
And I'm getting there, but it does come with a thing of like, I'm gonna get caught out.
I do believe that to have imposter syndrome, one needs to come from some sort of privilege. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I have that or I've ever had that. It's debatable, but by self-perception, I've never found myself saying I don't deserve to be here.
Yeah.
If anything, I was like, finally, thank you. Finally, you're seeing what I'm trying to make you see, and I had to work 10 times harder for you to see it because it comes from someone that looks like me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But that's... I also think that, that's completely... I wish I had always had your ability to deconstruct things and to understand. But just because it's like this, it doesn't mean that it's right.
Yeah.
To me, survival was so imperative because everything was made so much harder by who I was, where I came from, what I looked like, that is not even compliance, was trying to understand the system and work along with it. And how do I manage to survive? And survival was literally, how do I manage to get a job? How do I manage to get people to listen to me? How do I manage to pay for the roof over my head or for the food on my table and all those kind of things, which sounds much more Little Match Girl than actually was for a very long time in my life. Like, let's be honest. That level of attention had to come to me just in the last decade, 15 years. But back to the topic. It's fine.
So
it's fine.
How do you want to do this? Do you want us to just like talk openly, or do you want to interview me like I'm your first guest?
No, you talk openly because I wouldn't know how to go about it otherwise. Like you start off, and the moment that I know we will start to diverge, I'll say,
sure.
Actually, for me instead, it is.
Yeah. So yeah, like starting with, I guess we can start with our upbringings then, because it's like the one interesting thing about this country that I don't think you really realized until me and Imi were explaining it to you, is the being raised in religious primary schools, like for Americans it'd be like kindergarten and middle and elementary school. All of those schools are heavily religious, like just by default. I don't know that there are non-religious.
I mean, we have crucifix in every classroom in Italy, yeah.
Yeah, but you have I think you had the idea that we were...
You were much more... I had the perception
secular,
you were much more secular.
But, like where our religious studies up until that point, like secondary school then does become this more secular institution. So it's a weird jump to go from that. But like religious studies was the stories from the Bible, like the kind of things that you would learn in Sunday school.
It's literally just Christian stuff.
Yeah. So we're learning about Noah's Ark.
Yeah, we used to have the religion hour as well up until middle school, so up until 13. But that was literally catechism.
Yeah, and like for the for things like learning about the Romans or the Egyptians, that would be history.
Yes,
not
same.
in religion.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't be learning about like old religions or how they developed. And there'd be prayers we'd all sing the Lord's Prayer every morning in assembly and sing hymns.
That's fascinating. Even in Italy we don't have that.
And obviously like there are Muslim kids and Sikh kids at the school as well, so and they get like special dispensation to not be involved in those, but that's also
but still it's a way to other you.
Yeah, it's segregating. So yeah, that's always quite an uncomfortable side of things. But I remember as a kid being indoctrinated into this stuff because it's school. I've been taught to respect school, and school is teaching me a lot of religious stuff. And so when I find out about like being christened, I then come to my parents and say, "Oh, have I been christened?" And they're like, "No, we wanted you to grow up and make up your own mind. And then if that's something you decide to do, then that's something that you can do." But I was like on the mindset of, well, everyone else is christened. Why aren't I christened? Like I wanted to fit in. with the other kids, and they're like, well, that's not really a good reason to necessarily
Well,
decide.
actually, if you look at it society-wise, that kind of is. But, yeah.
But yeah, so I kind of had this dual thing where, yeah, from the people who are teaching me about the world, I'm being taught about all this religious stuff, but at home then, my parents very much weren't. But then, I don't know if she always was, but then kind of around 8, 9, 10-ish, my mum, so as far as I can remember, became more spiritual in the kind of the new religious movement that we've discussed about before side of things. So it's the Reiki healing and principles of Buddhism. Suddenly the house has like all the, the Ganesh shop. It looks like a Ganesh shop inside.
Spiritual, not religious.
Yeah, but I think one of the interesting things that my mum did was because she knew I was such an amazing, praising myself.
You are.
Because she knew I was such an avid reader. That when she found very interesting philosophical books on that point, she would share them with me. So, reading Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist and the Celestine Prophecies, which I've since gone back to because I was like, oh yeah, I remember. There's some very interesting stuff I did pick up from that book that I carried throughout the rest of my life. So I've mentioned with you, my therapists, that one of my very early spiritual magical practices that I ever did is when I was experiencing chronic pain. Because when I say it like that, I realize this is something I've always had my entire life. I would practice energy healing on myself to quieten down the intensity of the pain. So I would visualize, like the diagrams that they use to show the chakras, and you have this kind of like quite translucent human sexless body. And so I'd imagine this translucent version of myself and could see where the pain was. So if it was in my leg or my knees or my head, even because if I had a headache, I would see that pain and then imagine detached hands, like astral hands, floating over and putting healing light into the place, and visualize the color of the pain being reduced by that. And it would never work completely, so I always found this that quite interesting in the I couldn't just imagine that the color goes away. But if I would do that and I'd imagine this healing light, then as the pain lessened, the color would disappear. And it normally wouldn't go all the way, but it would be enough that it was then manageable. Or even just kind of being that aware of my body and that mindful would help me fall asleep if the pain was something that was keeping me up. So I think that's something I might have gotten from one of those books that I read at that time. But then by the time I'm 17 or 18, I do start to get into the new atheist movement on things, of being very critical of all religions and watching debates between scientists and religious people, paying attention to Richard Dawkins and probably some Peter Hitchens stuff, which I don't know. I can't remember if this was before either of them went completely off the deep end. We saw the review of that book that they're all in together where they're complaining about how woke science has gotten. It's just no, you're just a prick. You just become a prick. And because when society tells you that you're behaving incorrectly, you have a choice of either modifying your behavior or doubling down. They've all decided to just double down.
Yeah, fuck it.
Which I think actually contributes to why the religious stuff is more cool now. It's because everyone's actually realized that kind of critical hatred of things is a bad path to go
down.
Doesn't
bring anything good to anyone. So
but yeah, so I became very, very atheistic for a while. I do wonder how much reading his Dark Materials trilogy worked with that, because what's his name, Philip Pullman, he just has a massive stick up his ass about Catholicism.
I mean, I can't blame anyone. What you were saying about religions and the atheist movement, I do appreciate, and I never have deny the fact that organized religion is a form of control and oppression. Like it's undeniable.
Yeah.
The doubt that I have about Abrahamic religions, especially the missionary work of the Catholic Church, like I don't think that at this point, whatever kind of spirituality had to do with it, and whatever actions that have been done by the institution, can be torn apart. Like
Yeah.
they're one and the same at this point. There's not enough apology that can be made. The only thing that can be done is tear it down and rebuild from the spirituality, but that will never be done. So there's not a way to extricate those two things.
Yeah, but I do think in the new atheist movement there was a lot of just looking down on people.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
It's making fun of people for being stupid, for believing in something like that.
Yeah, I get that.
And
I mean,
yeah, we do subconscious. Again, I picked up an unconscious bias against it because it's believing in something to me became this like embarrassing thing.
I honestly, okay. I'll say something here. I remember at some point having to spend probably 6 months of therapy with my previous therapist, which wasn't a great therapist, dealing with the fact that the best concession that you could give to me
Yeah.
about reincarnation specifically, because of all the things that I have considered spiritually, reincarnation, probably because it got to me when I was relatively young. I was 16 when I first encountered the concept. It just stayed with me, probably because it's convenient, not because it's necessarily something that... But when that anxiety spiked from 2018 onwards, and it was such a constant thing that I was like, okay, I need us to do a past life regression so that I know that we've been together before.
Yeah.
And once I know that, because everybody talked about past life regressions as in, you get these memories and you have the consciousness that they are memories. Like you have this thing about, oh, right, like it's when something comes back to mind. I believed that, and I believed that that is what was supposed to happen during past life regressions. And I was like, amazing. I have all this anxiety that we die, we become warm food. If we do a past life regression together, I will absolutely find out that we've been together before, and I will chill. And the best thing that you could give me at that time was condescension. Like sweetness. If this makes you feel better, you do that. And I knew that it was coming from a place of love, but and I also understood, well, you can't believe into something that you don't believe in just for me. I understand that. And it was kind of an impasse, because I was like, this is driving me insane. I'm not enjoying life on a daily basis because I have this Damocles sword on my head. And at best, you're telling me, find whatever suits you, but I will never be able to give you the same belief of, no, we've been together before, we'll be together again.
Yeah, and I think there is a point to that, which is even if we had done it, now that we have done it, if we had done it back then, I don't necessarily think that would have been the solution to
I
all
would
that
still
anxiety.
like to think that what we have done was wrong, was not done well.
Yes,
and there surely is a way to do past life regressions that actually feels like you know.
Yes, and I'm fairly certain that had we done it then, that we would have had a very similar experience. The common way the past life regression is done right now, unfortunately, comes after I've done a lot of research into hypnosis and different layers of the mind, and I've explored like my own psyche and built worlds in it and created people within it. And like the second that she started doing it with us, I'm like, oh god, this is just the stuff that I do by myself. I could have done this at home. So that does tend to be a lot of it, of what it is, I think. Remember when we watched that documentary on mediums? There's a woman who did the documentary on like the last witch trial.
Yeah.
And she also did one on mediums.
Yes.
And was exploring that. And then when she goes to like when she goes to these things, the people are fully believing in, the number one thing about it is just like, have an open mind and just allow things to come with you and don't be too dismissive of them. And we're quite skeptical people, actually. Like, even if we believe in this stuff, when other people are involved, we become very skeptical of other people. And yeah, like if we'd gone to one of those mediumship things and we're trying to contact spirits, like it doesn't matter that we've had our own experiences with contacting spirits. If we'd done it there, with no fucking way we would.
No. But that's the thing. Like I think even the last video where I talked about my estranged mother passing away, and then the 5 minutes that I've considered about, okay, let's talk about this from a witchy point of view. My priority was to reinforce any kind of spiritual barrier in our house, because it's hard for me to say what happens. I would very much like for a world with spirits to be there. I would very much like to think that my grandparents are still watching over me and, talk to me through tarot and all of that. And I can't genuinely imagine that with a couple of synchronicities that have happened, me even questioning it, if they're around, makes them scream. Yeah. They're like, you ungrateful little thing. I get it. But at the same time, knowing, like having that profound knowledge, it's not knowing the same way that I know that water is wet or that fire is hot. I don't have that about what happens after we die. Yeah. And so until there's something that can give me that kind of profound knowledge, I cannot say that something exists.
Yeah, I think I can be honest in saying that even with how our spiritual practice is developed and the stuff that we learn about and research and practice, I just don't have that much interest in the afterlife. So if I had the same anxieties that you do, I can totally see that I would do that, and I probably would find a thing that I would like hold on to this is my belief. I'm honestly just not that interested as far as like my wanting to understand how the world works. It doesn't grab me in the same way that it does you. So even with everything that we've gone and developed with our belief systems, I think still that's a gap between us. Yeah. I have that new essay that I want to actually write and start a Substack with about death that might be more fruitful, because I think if I can put some kind of political spin on it and get to understand the mechanisms of why societies believe the things that they do about death, that at least gives me a reason to explore it and actually think about my feelings on it and what I've been brought up with to believe about it. But yeah, I'm still just on the thing of the thing that interests me more is that most of the atoms in my body were created in a star that lived and died and exploded billions of years ago before our solar system even existed. Like that's amazing to me.
That's the physicist in you talking.
I know, but that feels more interesting to me than the spirit world or like an afterlife thing.
I will concede that the reason why I latch onto these things is what I think most people talk about when they talk about ego. And so the idea of your individuality and your mind and the sum of all the experiences and things you've learned, and the idea that they have to go lost or they can't be built upon anymore the moment that your body stops working.
Yeah, which I think is a problem for me because I don't have a sense of self.
I think, not necessarily that I think you have a very sense of self, but I think you have gone through stuff. We've both gone through trauma. Yeah. It's very bizarre to me that we have gone through relatively similar trauma and we have found very different ways to cope with it. Yeah. And to me, I've always been very, very attached to life, like being alive and lasting as long as possible. It's a very, very, it's a core thing for me. Yeah. And you never had that. And I think at some point, especially at the beginning of our relationship, the point was like, oh, you didn't expect to get to 30.
Yeah, I'm more interested. This is the thing, I am very interested in living, but not necessarily that fascinated with being alive.
On a purely, not even sociological, but interactive level, to me, I think I've always wanted to be alive because I was like, well, I'm on a path and I need to get to a certain point to center things and around certain people.
Yeah.
So I need to be alive to get there. The crazy thing that happened that I did not expect to happen when I met you was realizing, oh, this was the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not reductive in the sense, oh, you fall in love and so actually nothing else matters. No. All the things that I was looking for, and I was trying different paths, and most of my paths were actually through career or through moving to the UK and all those things. The original reason for it was always, this is the way that I try to find my people. This is the way that I'll get to someone that will understand the things I say, will understand the way that I look at the world with, see it the same way, or at the very least understands the way that I see it and sympathizes and can see things and care about me the way that I need to be cared for.
Yeah.
And the way that it makes sense to me. So the entirety of everything that I've attempted in life was to get to a place thinking, oh, I just haven't found my people. I just need to get to a place where I'll find my people.
Yeah.
The place is not Italy. The place is not Milan. The place is not Ireland. Oh, let's try with London. Oh, let's try working in music, because I had this delusion of, oh, artists are naturally more, in touch with their feelings and emotions and their words and their inner world, so surely it's easier to talk to them and then to understand their take of the world. It's the kind of thing. And then I met you and I realized that all those things were in you, and then suddenly I had that switch of, oh, I don't need to be alive to have more time to attempt to get through more paths or more advanced paths. I have this is the peak. I need the peak not to pass.
Yeah.
I need to hold on to this now. And that was the first time that genuinely that anxiety came to me to that level.
Yeah.
Before it was always, oh no, I need the time because I'm working through things. Like I'm going through a path, through something that needs to evolve. And then suddenly with you it was like, oh, I've got it. I need not to lose it. And that was the first time that I started to be so terrified of losing something.
Yeah. Whereas I think that I am, ironically, despite how much I dissociate, I mean, it's part of the dissociation, but I dissociate into the present, which is a very unusual thing for people to dissociate to do. They're usually escaping the present. But because I'm fleeing the past and I'm terrified of the future, I just live in the now. And that involves a lot of not thinking about who I was 6 months ago. It's always just who I am now. And anything that I look to the future that I want to do, I think if it was anything more than 6 months away, or it would take longer than 6 months to get to, it might as well not exist. If I wanted to go to uni, then it's like, oh yeah, I can hold up this idea of I'll go to uni because it's October right now. And I have to wait until next June to start planning and doing that. And then by the time I get to March, I've already forgotten that I wanted to plan that.
Admittedly, it's the same for me. Yeah, I agree with that.
But it has meant that I am much easier at letting go of myself. And any plans or sense of identity about who I want to be, I can just kind of let that fall away. And so I think a big part of this, the existing on forever, that ego, that sense of I, just doesn't exist for me because I'm well, I already died 10 years ago because whoever that is doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, yeah.
And so death is like a freeze point in that sense. So whatever point I die is if I go on forever after that, then I'm going to be that forever. And that doesn't feel authentic to me because I feel I am more fluid and dynamic and changeable than that.
Well, I guess that's the thing in people that want to believe into a spirit world. And the point is, you retain your consciousness, your mind. It doesn't mean that it doesn't keep evolving. I guess that's also the point in which then people want to believe in reincarnation. To some degree, you retain your lessons and build on them. I have issues with that. I would like that so much. It's so useful. It's let's not waste stuff. I'm totally for it. With some mental gymnastics, I'm sure that I can imagine the kind of lessons that in another life I must have gone through to be the kind of person I am now. The fact that I don't remember them means kind of nothing to me.
I still love that the first therapist that I went to, since kind of like recognizing the trauma stuff and wanting to deal with that, is telling a story about how putting me in like preschool in I don't know what we call it in this country anymore, but like age 3. It's basically daycare, but they teach you things.
It's kindergarten for us. Yeah.
But when I was put into those classes, that it was like throwing a lamb to the wolves, because the other kids just like tore me to shreds, were incredibly hateful and violent towards me, and like I'd been given good social lessons about sharing and being polite and waiting for things, and I really took those to heart on like how to be. And these other kids were just like, no, mine, fuck off, get out, throwing stuff at me. And my therapist said, God, what must you have done in a past life to deserve that?
What the actual... This bitch.
Because she was the one who like suggested to me I look into the Akashic record, because clearly something in my
You paid money to this woman to go Akashic record.
She's the most expensive therapist I've ever had as well. That was the because she was the EMDR therapist. So it was like, oh, I think you'll find that interesting, because it seems like you've carried a lot of stuff from previous lives.
Hey, victim blaming. Don't do that. Don't do that. No, oh my god. I'm so sorry, my love. I'm so sorry. This bitch. But yeah, no, it's peculiar to me how similar our, not necessarily upbringing, but our experiences have been, because again, I have been for a very long time under the delusion that, and this is gonna sound weird, had I been you with your privileges, the world would have been my fucking oyster. But then I see you, and I know that it hasn't been like that for you.
It's the curse of awareness.
It's...
Because like that's the thing, I think that's the point about me being present, is without like the goals. I think goals is something that like prevents people from internalizing this stuff. Because if you're like, oh, I want to be vice president of this company in 10 years time or whatever, and you do well in the interview, and like you're entry level at an office, but you know that your manager's kind of like spotted something in you, and you're like, oh yeah, I can see my progression. I can get to this place. I just need to keep doing what I'm doing, keep working hard, and I'll step up to that.
I used to be that delusional, yeah.
Yeah, so because I don't care about any of that stuff, when someone's having an interest in me, I'm like, oh, that sounds like a lot of pressure I don't really want.
Gosh, no, that's the thing. I do remember people being shocked, and to a degree, probably one of the few things that people have ever admired in me, even white people, was how clear I was about what I wanted and where I wanted to get, and how like focus I had in this is where I'm gonna go. Like the entire reason why I got my first job in Italy was because I was cocky and stupid enough to literally tell my manager during the interview, oh, whether you hire me or not, in 6 months I'm gonna be in London. So I wish I could. There's a part of me that wishes I could go back and tell you little shit, you do not understand.
Yeah, but it worked.
But it worked.
Yeah.
Like being that cocky once worked. The one time that it needed to work, it worked. So, you know.
Whereas, like, yeah, I think your new awareness has very much hampered you in that you, because you are incredibly honest, you have to be delusional. You're like, you said I'm going to be in London in 6 months with 100% sincerity.
Yes.
But it requires the delusion for you to be sincere about it.
Absolutely.
And now you're not delusional. about things. And so when you're in job interviews, you're very honest about like your barriers and your difficulties and the things that you struggle with. I mean, you absolutely talk about like how you overcome them and the things that are beneficial to you, and that's what makes you stand out, and that's what works. But it's one of those psychology things where if you say one negative next to 10 positives, people
will latch on to the negative. Yeah. But yeah, at the time, because of that focus, I remember even my manager in London going, "Oh, you have such a clear idea of who you want to be, where you want to be. I've never had that." And I was like, "What the heck are you doing being my manager here then?"
Yeah.
Like what? No, and I admit that it wasn't that I was very naive, and I had a very limited understanding of the world. We're talking about a time where I did not recognize the existence of the framework. So there was no capitalism, there was no ableism, there was no patriarchy. They're just people that work hard, and depending on how hard you work, you get things. There was no racism. I had no idea that all the abuse that I'd gone through my entire life. And the entire reason why I knew that I needed to leave Italy. I know that Italian people didn't like me. Could I tell you that it was because of racism? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, there was not wording or understanding that I had. I just knew that, well, if he hasn't worked here in almost 20 years, might as well try something different. That was the extent of the thing. So, because to me, career and development had to do with the human side as well. Like, they were never two separate things until a decade ago or something.
Yeah.
Not even, because realistically the last job in office that I had, which was with National Theatre Wales, it doesn't exist anymore now, but I genuinely still had a bit of that delusion of no, this is not going to be a job, this is a family of election, these people share values with me, we will do things because we see the value in these things, it's going to be a big family.
Which is why you couldn't understand why they were being so mean to you by giving you standardized interview questions. Why would you say it like that? Why would you word it so... Yeah, and you're totally right. You're 100% right. Just, the world is what it is.
Got a bit on that tour there, but...
Yeah, that's fine.
I think that's also the idea, you get the very rare and precious gift of actually getting a glimpse of what it would feel like if you were just invited in our living room to get a cuppa with us, but then you just get to observe how we naturally interact with each other.
Yeah, this is actually a very normal afternoon conversation for us. We just have microphones in our hands. It's probably worth talking about then, as this will be tenuously linked to the Witchcraft YouTube channel. But how did you get into witchcraft then? Like, what's your journey to the witchcraft world?
Well, the official story, we all know, it's 3 years ago, our cat died.
Yeah, but before that.
But that's the thing, like, officially before that, it's just... It's very bizarre because you had asked me in September of 2022, I've never done anything or known anything of witchcraft. Like, you got me a tarot deck a year before that, and I looked at it and I was like, what do you want me to do with this?
But I knew that was something that you would be into. You talked about it.
When?
I don't know.
I genuinely don't think that I did. Honestly, that gift was the most bizarre thing you ever got from me, and it's a level of foresight that it's quite scary, because it's not you are the physicist, you are the one that thinks about molecules and atoms. You weren't in that phase, because we were still living in the house previous to this, so we were very much around, because it was in the house previous to this that I was talking to my previous therapist and had this guy. So you were still in that very secular atheist mindset, and you got me for one of our anniversary a queer tarot deck, and I remember being not shocked, but I was like, I do not understand. Like, the thought process behind it, I do not understand. And it's also like a fancy tarot deck. It was an indie tarot deck. You had to go and look for it.
I did so much research in finding the right one.
So what? That's the thing. Like, you tell me. You tell me what the journey was there.
So yeah, it's interesting because it's honestly very similar to me coming out as trans to you. In that, if you'd asked me during the day, At any point before that, if I was trans, I would have said no. And yeah, I know for a fact that by night,
By night.
when I'm just like on my phone in bed, like I can't stop looking up trans stuff. I'm like very interested in it in a way that I'm not really.
That's also the fun fact. Like, I think a year before you came out, I asked you outright.
Yeah,
and you said no.
I said no. But I think like part of that is like knowing that I'd looked into it. And yeah, it's like the stupid thing with trans stuff is, and I've talked about it before on the classifications we use for what is cis and what is trans, as if these are these two very distinct groups of things. And yes, there's like non-binary, there's a non-binary side of things that kind of blurs that line. But on the basis of like wanting to change your body, wanting to take hormones, wanting to identify differently or dress differently. Non-binary, but specifically on like the medical side of things, that this is something that I'd wanted for years and years and years and years. But when you look up like what is a trans person, or like the diagnostic criteria in the DSM, the way that it's kind of outlined in society is a very quite strict thing when you look it up. And I'm pretty sure I'd even like asked on Reddit at some point like, if I want to take HRT to do these specific things, but I don't necessarily want to identify any different or change anything different, like, is that a sensible thing to do? Like, is that something that is allowed? And everyone was like, no, like if you're not a woman, don't do it. Like, you're just gonna invite a lot of difficulty on yourself, and also you can't really choose which things you want to have and which things you don't. It's like, it was very presented as an all or nothing. Like, if you're gonna do this, you need to live as a woman, which
is admittedly the diagnostic criteria. So I don't know. I think the trans community absorbed that from the diagnostic because it's what they had to live up to get.
It's very basically. I just fell into the trans medicalism side of things. I don't think the modern, because this is the thing about the trans community, we have such short memories. I don't, because the trans community, the majority of the people who are in like the active online talking about their lives things, mostly get into that side of things for 3 or 4 years max.
And then they just like.
And then you live your life.
Cruise, okay.
Then you're just like, okay, I'm at a point now where I can just move on from the community and go out into the world.
Okay.
And reintegrate with the rest of society, kind of thing. There's very few people who are like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years transitioning and are like in the community and involved in stuff. Wow. That's a rarity. And so, because you're not normally someone who spends a decade researching something before you get into it, people kind of realize they're trans and arrive in the community as it is. So they don't realize that this whole thing about you don't need dysphoria to be trans. You can just take HRT if you want. You don't even have to identify differently. If you still want to identify as a cis man and take HRT, that's totally fine. Like, that's so new. That's...
Yeah, fair.
Maybe since the pandemic. That's maybe like a since 2020 thing. But because I've been researching this stuff since like 2010, yeah, I went through this long journey, and it wasn't until the kind of community arrived at a place that matched me that I was able to go, oh, that is me. And that was back in 2019. So it's this thing that I've been like into, but also disassociating myself from. I mean, like, that's not me though.
And you did the same with tarot, or you did the same
with witchcraft.
Me about tarot?
No, with witchcraft.
Oh, wow.
Entirely. I had been in witchcraft communities online for about 3 years before I did that.
I also find it so bizarre because we share and talk so much with each other about what we do, but also because of that, I think we're not invasive of our spaces. So you have like your Discords and your places, and and I just take for granted that if something relevant happens, you tell, and you do. So when that happens, and you sort of, I imagine, disassociate from yourself when that happens, I am not up to speed until suddenly you get me a tarot deck.
Yeah, I need the two sides of myself to kind of collide into each other. before I can then coalesce all the information. So because like being like I used to be much worse about disappearing into my phone a lot of the time because I didn't understand what the dissociation was or how it was manifesting. So I would like laser focus in onto my phone and just kind of curl up and disappear into it. And I might do that now with like Instagram Reels, where I just need something to keep my attention, but I'm at least more aware of the. And I think that's like it's the thing that's very dangerous about Reels, but it actually helps me a bit more. Is if I'm reading and engaging with something, then I'm much more focused into it and I'm not paying attention to my surroundings. But at least with the Reels, it's just something to take like 10% of my brain activity, so it's not spiraling off into anxiety, but I can still pay attention to everything else around. Like I'll often have it on silent and I'm just looking at videos pass me by and I'm not really paying attention to anything that's on them. But with the witchcraft thing, because I'm researching and learning about it and getting involved in stuff in like a completely disconnected, dissociated mindset, when I come out of that I left it behind.
Yeah, I get that.
But obviously it gets into your subconscious. And so the stuff that I'm doing is actually kind of like changing my belief system without me really being aware that it's happening.
Wow.
So yeah, first was the tarot deck. And then there's like the blood vial that I got you for our anniversary. Yes. Where like in doing that, I
took that just as a gothy thing, not even a witch
thing. No, it was 100% a witchcraft thing. In that I did it knowing full well like the spiritual ramifications and the power that I'm handing over. Like it was an incredibly trusting and meaningful thing for me to do because you have my blood, and with my blood you could do whatever you wanted, and I'm basically like handing you.
It's the ultimate tag lock, yeah.
Yeah, I'm handing you like the key to my well-being, to my existence, and saying, here, I trust you with this. Please look after it. It genuinely meant that to me when I did that. This is still before.
Yeah, I can tell you that we have pictures of the night that you got me this, and that was February 2021.
Yeah.
So that was actually before the tarot deck.
Before the tarot deck, even. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. It was well before the tarot deck.
Yeah, like I did not take that lightly in the slightest.
I didn't take it lightly because
I know,
it's blood, but I took it more in a gothy, almost blood play kind of thing than understanding the spiritual ramifications. Because you weren't.
I wasn't talking about it.
You weren't, to my knowledge, you weren't spiritual.
Yeah. So I know what got me into it was browsing Reddit and finding witches versus patriarchy.
Yeah, fair enough.
And so it's like, oh, this is cool.
It's the same thing of activist witch. I can concede to the witch if we're talking about smashing the patriarchy with it. Yes.
Yeah, which I think is my slight issue with, like I said, with the afterlife, is I haven't been able to find that political lens to put on it to go, oh, this is why I care about this now. But I'm finding that now with this new essay that I need to research for. But yeah, getting into witches versus patriarchy, then I started going into witchcraft and spirituality, and I'm still subscribed to all these subreddits. I've been subscribed, the subreddits that I'm subscribed to now on witchcraft, I've been subscribed to years before we got into it. And so in a way it's like it's not.
I'm the last one that came to this.
This isn't something that I very directly kind of went to those subreddits and went through. I don't think I did that particularly much, but I was just like, oh, this is a cool thing. Let me get it into my feed, so that I'm coming across these.
See what happens.
Yeah. And like in doing that, it just gave me more exposure to ideas. And I know that one thing I remember is having this, one of my first like magical beliefs was around transition. And it was in recognizing, it is my way of squaring the peg.
For the round hole.
Yeah. Or rounding the square peg for the round hole. About if you come out as trans, you've always been a woman. Like you're a woman before you even knew you're a woman. And I find that philosophically quite unsound. Or it did. I think there's a point when I was like giving it the give it a proper go at being a woman. And like, because when I started uni, so I changed my name, and I was like, I'm gonna start like a new me and a new life, and I'm gonna really engage with this stuff, and I'm gonna dress femme full time, and I wear makeup every day. I'm gonna do my hair really nicely. When I was doing that, and I was like, this isn't any different. Right, I don't feel different. I'm just, people are seeing me differently. And so there's an aspect of that which is like, when you come out as trans, you are speaking a prayer, and or you're uttering a spell, and this spell changes the past, it changes the present, and it changes the future, because this is who I was, this is who I am, and this is who I'm going to be. And that material reality warping effect of saying I am a woman as a trans woman felt magical to me. I'm like, yeah, I can.
This changes things.
I feel the power in those words, and because it changes your own perspective of it yourself. All your memories suddenly become like, oh, I get that now. I can. You place everything in a context, and people around you going, I did always kind of wonder something about you, and now they know. It's revealing the secrets of the universe type deal. And that's not even getting into the HRT, the taking ownership of your body, using potions and ingredients that alter the self, and you become this different. You change your brain chemistry, you change everything about yourself. Like, fundamentally, my body works in a different way than it ever did. And I'm just like, what is that if not magic? And so I came up with that. And I said it in this trans Discord once, and this woman went, I'm really upset by what you said, and I think you should delete that.
Why? The transness is magic.
Yeah, because she was stuck in this, like, magic is bullshit thing. So I think that trying to imply that my transition is magical and therefore not real, and it's this metaphysical thing.
That's kind of her issue of what she thinks of magic. Then
I know, but it was just the way that she was like, "I'm genuinely hurt by what you said, and I would like you to go away, please."
I mean, it's the kind of thing that we always say. There are things that you can be upset, and the right place to talk about that is with your therapist, not making it somebody else's problem.
It is a thing in the trans. I don't know if it's just because I've been in mostly trans communities for a while, but it's a thing that I noticed I don't really remember being such a big deal, is people just 100% telling you their bare feelings about things and thinking like, they're almost like, no, I completely disagree with you and I think you're a bad person in quite like blatant ways. I'm not used to that. There's like, there's the social contract about like open conversation that you have with people in public. Like when you're at the pub and have a few drinks, everyone's kind of like on board. This is free form. We can say what we want here.
No consequences.
No topic is off the table. We can just kind of get into it and hash things out.
No, but most importantly, nobody gets hurt.
100%. Like you can have like quite heated, energetic debates about things, but no one is getting pissed off about things. And then getting into trans discords is like the first time where someone's going, I am actually angry at you for saying that, and I would like you to stop. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I didn't know we were allowed to do that. Okay, fine.
Oh, wow.
But that's I've been doing that with witchcraft for a while, and so like that's the point of like when Whisker passed and I had this idea. Okay, remember when I came out as trans and the next day I frightened you because you had no idea about any of this stuff really. And so I'd come out as trans, you're like, oh my god, yeah, absolutely, like, no, I support you so much. And then the next day I'm like, oh yeah, so if I don't, take HRT and my breasts don't grow that much, then I can always just get breast implants, and there's like facial feminization surgery. And you're like, I'm sorry, what surgery? Who? What? When did this?
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of that with the witchcraft thing where like Whisker passed, I'm like, oh, would you like to do a spell? And you're like, what are you talking?
Yeah, I was absolutely. So yeah, I genuinely thought that because that was the first. Even if you had given me the tarot deck a year prior to that, I think a little bit over a year maybe, and still that didn't say witchcraft to me. I think at most, I genuinely don't know what I thought, but it definitely didn't spell witchcraft to me. And then Whisker passes, and you tell me, do you want to do a ritual? Do you want to do? I don't think we called it a spell, but it was basically the equivalent of doing a funeral, but because it involved then Persephone and a ritual and herbs and things, like it was a spell.
Yeah.
And my thought was genuinely, oh wow, you think this should suggest to me that you think this is affecting me really badly. The only other
Which
time,
I did, but
I think the only other time that I realized that I had to be worried about myself was when I came back from Italy in 2016 and I told you what happened.
Yeah.
And you went white in the face and
Yeah.
were like, okay, do you need to talk to someone? Like, I'm so sorry. So I've seen, it's not that, like, it's very rare that you allow, I guess, your concern for me to show, because you know that I already have a bit hypochondriac and this kind of thing. So you try to always keep a level head. So when you come to me with things like that, I realized, oh shit, things are bad. And that's what I thought at the time. Like, if you're coming to me, secular as you are, atheist as you are, telling me, let's do a funeral, let's do a spell, let's call on to Persephone to guide Whisker to the other world. You genuinely are worried for my health and you're trying to give me any kind of thing to latch onto because you think I'm going insane.
Yeah, which I didn't. Like, I 100%. I would like. So no, I was genuinely heartfelt in it. In the, I can see how much pain you're in for this, and because I was in a very specific place of working with the dissociation and trying to understand how it was affecting me, and I remember one of the things was when we were coming back from the vets, that I could feel my pain disappearing. And I was like, no, I'm not dissociating away this pain is mine, and I'm going to fucking feel it, and I'm going to live it this time, and I'm going to work through it, and I'm going to be here for this moment. But I was, even in doing that, I'm like taking charge of my experience with it. And I don't think that was necessarily true for you. Like, you were just lost for a couple weeks on that. And yeah, the amount of pain that there was for you. And so genuinely, like, completely heartfelt, I was just like, I need to give you something that can let you... understanding the importance of ritual and things, which is just something I've always had in my head. Ritual matters. And it's all very clinical with vets and stuff. And there's no... we don't really have pet funerals in this country. Or anywhere that I know of. But there's... I just like... There's something we need to do where we need to pour all of our emotions into this space and let them be. And then, in a sense, close it off in the, like, this exists here. And we have this thing... Like, we created this memory pouch. That kind of represents Whisker's soul. So, like, while we don't have Whisker running around anymore, we have this. This is where we pour all of our emotions about this into, and we have it, and it's ours, and we're not running away from it. We're not dissociating from it. We're not moving on even, because that's not something that we wanted to do. But it's here, and if it's there, then we can. It's kind of like a servitor. In that sense of the energy that we kind of poured into this thing. And with that then would allow us to live our lives. It was, I wouldn't even want to call it practical, but it's just like, we need something meaningful here. To make sense of this, and to package it and give it structure and give it a sense of place and belonging that isn't just eating into everything else in our lives, which I think we managed quite well with that, actually, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, that was the first straw in a series of straw that then were put on us until it broke the camel's back by January 2023. Like, a lot of things happened in a very way of destruction in the months to come, but admittedly it was I think the simple idea of taking control, which is very very simple. The fundamental of witchcraft is the idea that the simple fact that the cunning folks were doing magic or spells or potions or all of that was at the end of the day because things in the world are not going right, and I don't know who else to go to ask for help. There's not going to be somebody that listens to me, so I need to take matters into my own hands. And that is indeed something that I've always been keen on, something that I've always deluded myself. Oh, I have the power to. I didn't in most things, but I liked the idea that if I worked hard enough, indeed, that if I did enough, something was in my power to change. So that spoke to that need for me to be an active part of things rather than just things happen to me.
And then it becomes the point of you definitely played a lot of catch up after that point. So like I'd known about a lot of things which it was annoying you to no end.
Because again, I think one fundamental part of our relationship is how much we talk to each other.
I know.
So I was just like, when? When?
God, I was using tarot so much during that phase as well. Because then I got my own deck and I just got massively into like, this is going to solve every problem in my life because I can just keep asking the cards. And you just got like book after book after book. There was actually still a bit of conflict with that because I had kind of built up my framework by then on what witchcraft is and that separation of like witchcraft from Eastern new religious movement spirituality stuff that I hate with a passion. And so like all this stuff you were getting into that had that stuff in it, I'm like becoming skeptical again.
Because you sounded it. Because
you're getting into this like.
So I felt very much that you were being hot and cold about it.
But
because if you had something behind you, you didn't share it with me. You didn't show it, and so of course I go to Psychic Witch.
Psychic Witch, and like chakras are coming up, and we're doing this like experiments with crystals and trying to feel their frequencies and stuff. And I was like, this feels a bit Orientalist. But I didn't really know. I didn't have the political framework for it yet. I just kind of like, the witchcraft that I'd been exposed to had been this very kind of like separate thing from all that stuff, and I was shocked to find so much of it in the literature. I didn't realize how much of that was mixed together, and I still blame Wicca for that. So again, going to like the spiritual shops and just seeing how enmeshed witchcraft and Eastern New Age spirituality stuff is, just like that made me suddenly very skeptical again. And like I think that's how we really got into the activist witch side of things. I'm like, I have issues.
There's gotta be something better than this,
Because I'm just quite good, because I've been engaging with it passively. I was quite good at internalizing the stuff that already aligned with me. Whereas you're in a much more of a, I need to learn everything.
I need to have the scope of vision of what everything in witchcraft is, and then I will decide what sounds more sound to me.
Well, yes, right.
We have been yapping for a while. Does this deliver what we believe in?
I think we've left a lot of stuff out that we can revisit later, but I think that's
But fine. I think it delivers a lot of, like, again, the mental kindergarten that we come from as people and as a couple. And so what is to be expected from this kind of chats?
Because this is much more open than a video where, even like the ones we record together, this is much more freeform and therefore honest because we haven't prepared anything.
It doesn't come with a topic as much as well. Like we talked about, we believe in different things, however.
We haven't come into this with points that we need to
exactly.
hit.
There's no bullet points.
I hope people appreciate it.
Yeah, I hope you did well, whatever you've been doing while we were here keeping you company. And I hope that it will yield very good results for you.
Feel free to complain about the audio so I know how to, or know what to fix and things.
This is going to be one of those things that you edit finally. Yeah, because I don't know how to touch this audio.
Fascinating.
Yeah, you're going to be on Audacity doing all of this because I'm the Premiere girl.
That is actually something I can do on my laptop.
And you're the Audacity girl, so.
Yeah, I'll give you the file so you can put into Premiere and add the. It doesn't matter. We'll talk about this afterwards.
Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you.
And until the next podcast, I haven't thought about closing for these, and I'm going naturally to the video one.
We could still hex the patriarchy.
And we should still hex the patriarchy, like whether we're talking about hexing and witchcraft or not.
Yeah.
Do hex the patriarchy while you wait for the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.